Rajat Rajgadia is Managing Director at Institutional Equities at Motilal Oswal Securities. He is joining in right now. Rajat, thanks very much. Good to have you here. So, from Monday's vote on account fiscal 15 interim budget, are there any expectations, Rajat?
No, I think markets have no expectations from the vote on account because historically that has generally been a non-event for the markets. So I don't think markets would be expecting anything. So if you get anything in that process, it would be viewed quite differently.
You know, you've got the spectrum proceeds now. So we know many things, but there are many other things which we don't know. I'm talking about the 4.8 fiscal deficit number, which the FM had said is a red line. I'm sure that will be met. But my question is, will people focus on the quality of how they've managed to get to the numbers, postponing subsidy payouts, booking revenues now before? There was a report that they're demanding their share from the RBI earlier than expected. So would the quality of how they go about showing that 4.8 or sub 4.8 be under a cloud, Rajat? Or it doesn't matter?
Well, I think it's been if you read most of the economists' note throughout the year, it has always been a challenge to look at this 4.8% number in the environment that we are in. So yes, they will meet this 4.8% number, and at least some of the policymakers have been voicing that the final number may even better that. But the two moving parts of that, first is the subsidy and second is how much cut in the plan expenditure happens, because these are the two things that basically are being used as the balancing factor for the final fiscal deficit numbers. I think the good thing is at least some of the asset sale numbers which were looking little difficult till December, at least this quarter they have been quite successful, whether be it telecom, some of the big dividend payouts, and hopefully Hindustan Zinc deal also goes through. So I would think that doing these big bulk asset sales in a quarter is quite positive. But yes, 4-point number was always a very ambitious number, and meeting that would need some adjustments on the expenditure item.
What about fiscal 15? I remember if you go back to say 2009, right? There was an interim budget. There was certain expenditure which was proposed. There was certain number as far as market borrowing which was proposed. By the time, I think in July, the actual budget was presented, the numbers were vastly different. But of course, there was that financial crisis and the need to revitalize the economy and pump money in, etc., etc. So, but the numbers were very different, the interim budget and the final budget. So, we'll get some indication of budget estimates for fiscal 15 in the interim one on Monday. How important will those be? How seriously will the market take those numbers?
I would think that would be very, very less important, because really we will not be focusing on fiscal 15 numbers. We will be focusing on the remaining 9 months of fiscal 15, because hopefully once you get a stronger government in May, then when they present the budget in June or July, whatever the time is, then people will focus on the next 9 months. So I think right now, at least one would believe that the next year number should be better than what we are doing this year. But the importance of that number in the context of the general elections will be very low right now.
Right. So for the market, it's not gonna mean very much, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I think at least we are not hearing or talking to our clients right now on this, because the focus of the market is on multiple other factors and not so much on the vote on account right now.
Yeah. In terms of indirect tax rate changes or tax slabs being moved around, anything? Or even if it comes, that doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Well, as I told you when we met a week back, that the market as of now has almost zero expectations. So anything that they get from the government right now will only be positive. That's what I would think about.
Rajat, there was another opinion poll yesterday, which was released yesterday evening, that shows the NDA, BJP-led alliance, getting 227 seats. So it kind of reconfirms the belief that the BJP-led alliance will form the next government. I mean, yesterday was the latest. Before that, a few weeks back, you had a bunch of other opinion polls which showed similar kind of numbers and readings. My question is, you ask around and people say that, well, they're not very afraid of a third front government. But if you look at prices and how markets have behaved, I mean, they're not down substantially, but they're down 5-6% from recent highs. So although people say that they're not afraid of a weak government, and opinion polls point to a firm government, which the market wants, a good, strong government, but what are prices telling you, if anything, Rajat?
Well, I think at least I have been surprised by the way the markets have got weak over the last few weeks, and the reason for that surprise is because I think a lot of the things relating to India have only got better. If you look at the way our currency has stabilized despite that emerging market turmoil over the last 1 month or so. Secondly, if you look at the inflation prints, they are bettering the estimate. And third, which is the most important thing, is that the earnings season which we are ending today, this quarter earnings is almost a 400-500 points delta higher than what was budgeted. So the aggregate numbers have come up very well. And then lastly, I think at least the markets will be positive if the momentum on the run up to the elections is more in favor of the National Party, which is right now BJP, going by the opinion polls. But I think what we are hearing from our clients on the global front is that the emerging market redemptions that we have been seeing since beginning of January have remained very high. And within that, some of the specific markets where people have already put in good amount of money, be it China, India, the big markets within the EM index, there the money pullout has been reasonably good. And I think at this point of time, flows and sentiment have overtaken the underlying fundamentals, because fundamentals have only got better, but the sentiment and the flows have got worse.
Yeah, so I mean, it's what you would describe a technical, tactical kind of thing, right? That's about it. I mean, there is no reason to believe that the underlying has sort of turned for the worse. It's actually gotten better, according to you.
Yeah, I mean, almost if we compare today with what we were in November or we were in August, September, I think today we are far better than those periods, right? But I guess given the magnitude of expectation that people have from elections as an event, this is going to be a big event as far as economy and the markets are concerned. There is some element of nervousness which keeps on prevailing in, but we are really not worried. We think that if globally things are stable year on, India will see some bounce back happening from here.
Right. Okay. I mean, since I think the 24th or 25th of Jan, we just looked at numbers. There have been only 4 days when FIs have actually bought, including yesterday. And of course, yesterday's 400 crore plus figure was kind of a surprise with the market selling off the way it did. There was that number, but flows, etc., and sentiment, etc., from foreign side has certainly turned for the worse. But Rajat saying that underlying expectations and things have actually gotten better. So that's basically what Rajat is saying. Rajat, so would you say that we will shortly resume the uptrend, or it's a timing issue, so it's tough to call. The market may stay around here. What's your sense?
Well, in the short term, you can never fight the flows. So the basic call is that where does the emerging market redemptions stop? Because if they continue for another fortnight or a month, then you will see markets continue to be nervous. And the most important thing to note here is that Indian markets generally are unprepared for FII outflows, and more so at this point when DIIs have been record seller over the last 12 months. So I think it is the only thing that is always difficult to take a call on is the flows, and right now they are not working in our favor. But these are not phases which last long. They typically come in patches, make their impact, and then the underlying things start revolving back to the mean, and that mean would be higher than what we are today.
Okay, got that. Let's talk about a couple of things, specific things. Telecom stocks, we now have closure as far as the telecom auctions are concerned. Stocks saw a bit of a pop, but they'd sold off over the last 2 weeks or so. But what's your broad sense? What has happened? Would you consider that as a relief? So numbers which were built in were higher as compared to what the companies will pay out. Bharti close to 20,000 crores, Idea 10,000 crores.
Well, I think we were surprised that the incumbents or the existing three strong players had participated aggressively within themselves to raise the stakes so higher. If you look at the correction in the underlying stock prices, the fall is just equivalent to the increase in the additional liability that has come to the companies because of the spectrum payment. But the more important part is that if people have started to get worried about the possible entry of Reliance now sometime in the second half of this calendar year, and they have already, I mean, if you start adding pieces, they participate, they're winning 14 circles, sharing infrastructure, get already invested meaningful amount, right? They're going to be a player that people will have to watch out for. So on one hand, the incumbents have raised their balance sheet debt levels higher, reduced the underlying equity value, and on the other hand, you have the launch of a big player. I just think that the whole positive sentiment that got built around in telecom last year has turned neutral to negative now, going by the developments of last 1 month.
Okay. So, I mean, the consensus view is that industry is getting better. It will be able to absorb higher prices. And from a 1 year plus perspective, Idea and Bharti are good stocks to own. You disagree?
I would think that the first instance has to be that companies are able to come and do tariff hikes, because the amount of liability that they have now incurred on bidding for the spectrum has to be recovered back from the consumer. So rather than building any hope on that, that action has to be demonstrated right now. And whenever the sector outlook changes on events, it becomes 0-1 game right now. And I think memories are fresh of 2008. The only difference between now and then is that in 2008-9, the threat was from unknown new players who were never strong. While right now, you are seeing competition happening amongst the stronger players in the sector. So stocks have seen some recovery, but I think the whole tariff improvement argument is something which companies have to demonstrate first to recover this additional cost, and then investors will bet more into the sector.
Rajat, what do you mean? What do you make of Cipla, which disappointed?
Well, this is again another almost a kind of an exception in the pharma pack, where almost every company has been building on their business, growing every year after year, and created enormous value over the last 3 years. Cipla has somewhere not been able to participate in that, led by both overseas and domestic issues. Of course, this is also a part of the transition that they have articulated for a 3-year plan. But at this point of time, with the kind of numbers that they have delivered this quarter, you have seen across the street downgrade in the estimates. I wish that as a company or a stock, they could have done much better, given that pharma has been in such a sweet spot. But I guess at right now, with almost no earnings growth coming in, this is a stock that investors will still stay away from.
They will stay away. United Spirits is the other one. Numbers have been pretty bad. There is that underlying hope that another offer from Diageo will come. I know 1 quarter doesn't change expectations. I mean, it can't go from being described as the best consumer stock to own in India to to becoming a stock that you'd want to get out. So one quarter can't do that. But how would you look at this?
Well, I think there are three perspectives on United Spirits. First is the business performance. Second is the technical, which is the open offer, and third is the long-term opportunity. The last 2 points have a big positive. The long-term opportunity, no one doubts that what Diageo can do to this business is huge. The open offer or a further stake rise by Diageo over a period of time is a possibility because they took a stake very recently again. But look at the last 2 quarters of underlying business. Volumes are down, margins have taken a hit, right? Any investor into this name has to come into this name thinking like a close-ended fund, where you buy this and then basically hold it for a period of 3-5 years to hope that the underlying story pans out. Considering the recent performance, I think the next couple of quarters are not going to be more exciting. It trades at almost some 50-60 times FY15 estimates right now, right? So I think these technical factors is what is holding the stock here. Otherwise, I think it would have been down quite a bit from what it is trading right now. We have a neutral rating because our estimates and target prices are based on the next 1 to 2 year outlook. And at least in that time frame, we are not seeing any big improvement for it to be any buy.
Oil marketing stocks, Rajat, they're all up 30, 40, 50% over the last few months. What would you do with some of these?
Well, they first fell 20%, and then from those 10-year low prices or 10-year low valuations, they recovered up 25%. Look at last 7-8 years, they are stuck in this range. We neither see a reason to be very excited nor a reason to be depressed about them. But I think the more important point is that if oil prices are stuck in this range of 105-10, and come BJP, come Congress, each one of them have a mandate to reform the sector by doing price hikes, the structural trend is only going to get better, right? But I think in between this, you have this election event, and that will be again a defining moment on how people will look at these names. I think the prices that the stocks were trading in somewhere about mid-December was very, very attractive. So they're just kind of retrace some of those losses. But again, this is a pocket of stock where you will have to buy and hold it for some period to make money. Otherwise, they are stuck in this range for last many, many years.
Okay, got that. What else are you watching? What else has caught your attention over the last week, 10 days or so, which you'd want to highlight? I mean, anything which has floated to the top of your mind in terms of an opportunity, near term, medium term?
I think one of the very exciting names, which because of this whole EM related thing has not moved up, is Tata Motors, because I think the way they have been building quarter after quarter or year after year in their JLR franchisee is very remarkable. Does global auto companies have a model to earn significantly more than what Tata Motors is earning, and the size of opportunity? Answer is yes. Is the balance sheet very, very strong? Answer is yes, because JLR at their own level is almost debt free. Whatever debt you have is for the domestic business, right? And we are somewhere at the bottom of this domestic business. 1,200 crores kind of a quarterly loss is really an aberration. We think this is one stock which has the ingredients to do very well. The second thing which I think also caught our attention is in this whole EM related sell-off, you saw even some of the very well doing names like an HDFC Bank or an ICICI Bank, which has also corrected bit. I would think that these are great buying opportunities into these names, because these are the managements which are trading through this turbulent time very, very well. And in the first instance of a recovery in the markets, these are the stocks which should outperform from here.
Right. So okay. Tata Motors, of course, the market is bullish on broadly. I mean, if there's one stock which sees upgrades after upgrades after upgrades every day, is Tata Motors. So no doubt about it.
Yeah. But if you look at the stock, it's been stuck in this range of 360 to 400 now. right? 350 to 400. I think at some point of time you will see this stock breaking out that band and then moving up.
Yeah. There was a call recently. You mentioned HDFC Bank. I think it was CLSA who said that ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank's rates of earnings growth are converging now. Valuations are still very wide. And ICICI has corrected a little bit as well. So they prefer ICICI over HDFC Bank. Any thoughts, since you mentioned the latter, HDFC?
Well, I think we like both these names, and both of them have their individual stories. But yes, I think ICICI has done remarkably well over the last 3 years to shape them up in a manner which is very different from how they operated till FY 08-09. The ROE is holding well at 15% plus with very well capitalized, makes them handle this environment quite well. And we think with a matter of couple of quarters, you should start seeing things improving for them. HDFC Bank don't have any such issues also. So really, you don't have to worry about improvement because the numbers just keeps coming in. It's more a question of a price. So because of all this MSCI rejig or EM related outflows, you saw this stock correcting. Today it's trading at its 10-year lowest P with an earnings growth of 25% CAGR over the next 2 years and trading at 14p. I think it will be unfair for ICICI right now, HDFC Bank right now to be just compared with other banks in the system because it probably would be one of the best picks in the market as a whole. And ICICI Bank on their own has been doing very well. And there is a case for ICICI Bank convergence of some valuations to happen in line with HDFC Bank over a period of time.
Okay, one last question. And I was talking to a private investor yesterday, and we were talking about stocks, and he said, well, look at AIA Engineering. It's up almost 80% over the last 12 months or so. And I was surprised. I mean, you used to hear these names in 2006 and 7, and they kind of dropped off the radar after that for a long, long time. Are there more such names? At Motilal, Rajat, do you constantly keep track, or I mean, these are names which still are very risky and you'd want to stay away from, because 80% in 12 months is not bad.
Well, I think 80% is an exception in a market like this. But yes, coming to your question, we have. Our attempt is always to make sure that we keep on finding ways to discover many of such names. So if you look at many of the names that we have written on in the last 1 year, or we have initiated coverages, which is whether it's been like of PVR, Just Dial, TVS Motors, many of these companies have delivered returns of Eicher Motors, many of these companies have delivered returns of anything between 30 to 100% over this period of time. And I think India is a land of opportunities. Whenever the overall market does well, everything will do well. But even in these times, you can focus on few themes. You mentioned about AIA Engineering, right? If you look at the big gain in the stock actually happened in the last 3 months, ever since the currency depreciation started playing in favor of the export manufacturing companies, and plus the opportunity that these company like AIA has started thinking on the mining front. Investors have re-rated because these are good balance sheets, benefiting from currency of 61, 62, and the starting valuations were very attractive for them.
Fair enough. Rajat, thanks very much for joining in. Interesting conversation as always. Thank you for your time. Rajat Rajgari at Motilal with his perspective. Let's take a quick break. We're back in 2. The management at Idea joins in. Himanshu Kampania is with us on what he makes of Idea's aggressive bidding. So have they got what they needed, or have they got more than what they needed? So we'll put that question to Mr. Kampania at Idea when we return. Back in 2.